Hey, I'm Dave. Welcome to Shop Talk, where we answer all the week's best comments, questions, insights, and queries related to this week's content from the main channel, Dave's Garage. Seems like most of our content this week, or most of the comments and the feedback from the users, is related to flock. So if you're interested in flock cameras or you have an opinion, stick around, because I'm just so provocative. I'm going to argue it from both sides just to make you mad. I think. Anyway, what do you got for me, Glenn?
Yeah, we're going to kick the flock out of this one here. And James kind of kicks it off. He says, you should take a side. What is wrong with you? And that's just sort of the sentiment. This thing divides people.
It really does.
Yeah. Let's get on to the question here from Tax Dentist. He says, very balanced presentation. Thanks. He says, I guess the thing I don't understand about the opposition to these cameras is that we all carry cell phones that track our movements every day. And if you believe the detective shows on TV, the police can reconstruct your path at any time using cell tower pings, GPS, or both. Says we don't seem to be too worried about that, so why are we more concerned about technology that seems less precise than the technology that tracks our cell phones?
Well, I think the big difference, the difference with flock cameras or with any camera system like this, is that out of a series of instantaneous, here's a picture of your car here, and a picture of your car here, and a picture of your car an hour later over here. They can construct a path for you in time, which basically amounts to surveillance of you, which they can't do with individual images. But because they're doing so many individual images, they have enough to construct it over time. And so it's kind of like warrantless surveillance in a way. And now you're right in that if they get a warrant and they track you by your phone, well, that's way more accurate. That's down to the meter if you're outside, I'm sure, or less than that. But the problem is that they can get all this data without a warrant. So if this was warrant data, or you could only do searches with a warrant, or certain searches at least required a warrant, or anything interesting about a named individual required a warrant. If it wasn't an exigent situation, it would require a warrant. Or, even if there was a FISA court or some kind of weird like that set up, like to arbitrate whether they got to look at it or not, that would make a big difference.
Yeah. And I think some of those things are going to come up through some other questions. Trumpet Punk says, he says, so much to unpack here, but what the heck is convoy analysis? And what do they mean by real-time routing tools? Says these could be potentially AI predictive policing things that are way more insidious than anything else discussed in the video.
Yeah, I assume when I saw that convoy convoy controls or analysis is something they list in their feature set, so I'm not 100% sure, but I assume it's when you have multiple vehicles in a fleet and they're all traveling together as one. Are they still traveling together as a pack of 8? Are they all together? Has one deviated 20 miles from the rest? That kind of thing that you could do. So that's a feature that you would add on to it. I don't know how that's useful for surveillance other than, hey, maybe get these 5 people that are like in a gang and we're going to track them if they ever get together or something like that, gang. Maybe. Yeah. They're starting a gang, Glenn. You can get in on the ground floor.
Together. Oh, no, we get the band back together. Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused. That's how I work. Original Mining Rocks says, excellent breakdown, Dave. I like the content that follows your interests and is not just in the channel theme, so we like that. Is there a reason you left out the Bluetooth MAC sniffing that many of these cameras do? He says, I see other comments mentioning the same, but mine is in the form of a question. Therefore, his gets asked.
Well, I'd heard about it, but because I was strictly talking about flock cameras in this episode by their brand name, I thought I should stick to things that I know they do. And I haven't seen them do MAC ID sniffing of your phone as it goes by to try and reconstruct where you go. And how much more useful that is, then, it's probably tied to you as a person rather than to the vehicle as a car. Now, for me, I drive my own car, so that's fine. But if this thing could sniff your phone, then even if you're in your buddy's car or you steal a car, then it could probably track you. So,
yeah, and there's some of that stuff that comes up too. Fort Patches says, don't they also record electronic devices that pass by them? Now, maybe not. That's not the flock cameras, but other ones, or?
I'm certain that's entirely possible.
Okay.
I was bored on a cruise, and I was thinking, what can I do with an ESP32 and a MacBook? And all the things I could do with them were creepy. Like I could go around the ship and I could find out who was using what Wi-Fi SSIDs in what range and try and interpolate information and guess things about them. But yeah, there was no good thing I could do with them, so I wound up doing nothing. But yeah, you can certainly sniff a lot of information in the wireless band spectrum. And Bluetooth, of course, which is also wireless. But
with your ESP32?
Yeah.
Hooked up to one of those nice new screens you have, or?
Yeah, like this. Here, look what I made.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Wait, I got to put it in front of my face.
There we go. Yep, now we can see it. Cool. What the hell is that, Dave?
That is an RPM tack gauge for an ODB2 display that you plug into the car's ODB2 port. It's not really running right now. That's just kind of a demo of the gauge, but
Proof of concept, yeah.
yes.
Neat. Acid talons. Now, how about monitoring via TPMS, which is open broadcast on UHF? It says researchers have found that because each TPMS sensor transmits a unique ID, adversaries can passively log these IDs alongside roadways, which allows them to track your vehicle's movements, commute schedules, and daily routines.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's not something more fundamental about the TPMS technology that makes it harder to sniff from a quick pass by, or can you really get all the IDs of every tire that goes by you? That would be pretty neat, in a bad way.
P. Clanner, or PC Lanner, I think this visits the realm of public rights. He says, do you have a right to photograph buildings, people, vehicles, and public places? If yes, then the cameras are valid. What about the data the cameras collect and how that data is used? That's more the issue. He says, should we then have laws that regulate the use of the data? Which, again, I think gets back to what you talked about is the difference between this and the cell phone stuff. In order to get the cell phone data, you need a warrant. This flock camera stuff's put up a camera.
Yeah, and that's where I come down on it largely, is that because it's warrantless, I am sensitive with the privacy concerns, because people say, well, if you're not doing anything illegal, what do you care? Well, yeah, but that didn't always work in history. You know, sometimes what you're doing today isn't illegal today, but becomes illegal in the future.
Yeah.
And do you want the state having that kind of power to track and monitor and do that kind of thing? You know, a lot of me does, because I want them to be able to track getaway cars and carjackings and all kinds of things you can do with it. But I would prefer that it's exigent circumstances or a warrant, as opposed to just, I'm going to fish today in the database.
Yeah. And then Joseph Wilbanks again started getting on that access and use. As if flock cameras are illegal use of or surveillance, why can't everyone have access to it?
Well, you could. If you could put a camera up everywhere and somehow share it with all your friends and build your own private camera network, you could do that.
Okay, so again, this flock camera stuff is new and foreign to me. So does anyone with a flock camera, you get access to every flock camera's information?
No, but you can sign into data sharing agreements with other flock users. So let's say you have Redmond and Bellevue. Redmond has flock cameras. Bellevue has flock cameras. Well, it would sure be nice if we could see into each other's networks to see a car that's going from one to the other and so on, so they get into a sharing agreement. And now some of those are very permissive, or what's the right word? Promiscuous. In that they associate you with many other jurisdictions who associate you with many other jurisdictions, and you wind up with an almost national database if you're not careful.
So promiscuous, you got flock cameras, they're just slutting around all over the place.
No, that's the
they're
problem with
themselves out. Yeah.
They're giving it away.
Why buy the steak or the cow and the steak is free? I don't know. John Turtle, again, kind of thing again, some of the stuff, these flock cameras and other things, and they all have security and surveillance-y type things, but it's the integration and sharing that stuff that gets really wicked. So John Turtle says, no mention of how flock can coordinate with ring cams, which are even less secure somehow. He says the network is already bigger than most people realize. Exactly 0 of these companies require or act on warrants either. They will gladly immediately hand over any data concerning you, as it has already happened.
Yeah, so there's no privacy expectation with your ring camera. They will, flip that camera data over to law enforcement as soon as it's requested, I believe.
Yeah.
Could be wrong on that, but that seems to be the case, because often you're getting it on TMZ before you're getting it on the news. So, go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering, is it getting it on TMZ? So the first thing I see was sort of like, you don't even have to. I work for a municipal operation here in Canada. They have the FOI, Freedom of Information. And the U.S. has a similar thing for public agencies. You can request information. So I wonder, if Redmond or Bellevue have these flock cameras, can you file an FOI to see the flock camera information for a certain period of time?
I think you can. I believe so in a lot of cases. Now, the ring cameras are a different case.
Right.
But somehow, with a court order, or even without a court order, maybe just as part of a police investigation, they can get access to your ring camera data, which is, again, a double-edged sword, because it helps solve crimes. But, people get embarrassed, too, by it, because there have been celebrities that have been caught doing shenanigans on their front door that they're probably not proud of, and I'm not going to name names, but
Yeah.
you know, it's not something that should be on TMZ. It should be discoverable by police, perhaps. It should be obtainable with a warrant, but not downloaded by everybody and seen on the web.
M. Scott Blaylock here, he says, I recall the justification for mass government surveillance and intrusion on privacy and personal freedoms post 9/11. And then he says a quote here, if you're not doing anything wrong, why worry about it? He said, P.S. I have not been contacted by the FBI. Should I be in the future, this post will disappear.
Well, in terms of I'm not doing anything wrong, why would I care? I think I already addressed that one.
Yeah.
Bigger picture, what is it, Benjamin Franklin? Those who would surrender essential liberties to secure greater security deserve neither.
Yeah, and
Something to
the
that
Canadian sort of thing for that was Pierre Elliott Trudeau, like the nation has no business in the bedrooms of its citizens, right? Like what you do in the privacy of your own home is kind of your own business. So not the same thing, but along those lines.
I saw an interesting speech from him today, too, which is really coincidental. Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Okay, yeah.
So he was talking about, this must have been Canada in the 1970s or maybe 80s, and they were talking about issuing a formal apology to the Japanese who were interned during the World War II. It's something I believe the U.S. has done, and I'm cool with that because it was a complete violation of our Constitution as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know the details of how it was handled in Canada, but assuming it was similar, he still had a point in that, you know, you can't absolve a nation of its sins by having a leader stand up and say a few nice words and rewrite the history. So I'm not going to do that. If I'm going to do that for Japanese today, do I do it for this group tomorrow, or the next group, or the next group, or the next group? And instead of enumerating all the groups that have been harmed throughout history, let's just let the historical record of the nation stand.
Yeah.
And I can see both arguments, but...
Yeah. Another thing that has, can be both sides or more than one side, both sides. Quinn the Fly says, merely as a devil's advocate, if the system was ever used to save the life of a deflocker or loved one, would it change your mind about its use? He says, many opponents, but none saying, it saved my life and I'm still against it. So a little thought experiment thrown out there. I can't say with any authority because I'm not within any such system, but...
I think on principle I would allow my loved one to die. No. So yeah, I would let it save a loved one, sure. But that's kind of a facetious argument, isn't it?
Well, I think it's missing part of the point too of just because it might save some doesn't mean that there should be no controls on who accesses it and when, which I think is the bigger point. I mean, well, there's 2 points maybe. One is that these things exist and the information's there, but I don't think the recording of the information is as bad as if there were controls and limits and people trusted those controls and limits and they were somehow enforceable. That would certainly ease some of that stuff, I think. And someone else, I think, coming up here is going to have like a technical, not a technical solution, a technical idea that might be used to address that, but I will let you evaluate that. Ruth and Joe Barrett, he's got a bit of an interesting example. He says, my issue is with the accuracy of the license plate recognition. He says, our city uses license plate recognition technology to bill on toll roads. He says, a while ago, my wife got a bill for a road she was never on. We asked for the photo and the camera took. Now, my wife drives a little powder blue Hyundai Accent with the license plate Grinnin, Grinnin. Goes with our last name. What the photo showed was a Harley Davidson ridden by a rather large guy whose license plate said Grimm, Grimm.
I can see that would be a tough one, right? A couple of N's versus a couple of M's. And
Yep.
Yeah, and as far as I know, for the flock camera stuff, it's not an AI model. It is an older school optical vision processing solution, probably one that's been around for 20 years and honed for license plates to the point that it's better than an AI. I'm surprised they don't do both, but...
Yeah, so just to compare it to your driveway camera thing, that's specifically designed to read license plates.
It is,
right?
And but it is a physical camera. That's the Unify AI LPR Pro, I think they call it. It's a big camera, and it's 4K, and it's got a zoom on it, so you can point it at a roadway, and up to about 40 miles an hour, it can read the plates of the cars going by. Yeah. It works in my driveway as well, which is where I have it, but Yeah, it's a pretty cool camera for that. But again, it's an AI-based solution. So it finds a license plate through AI and it reads it through AI. Now, it could be that they also fall back to some old school algorithm, but I'm guessing not. But
yours doesn't read your tire pressure when you come in and out of the driveway, though, does it?
No, it keeps track of which tires are in the driveway, but that's it.
Right. So with the flock cameras, they're probably not tuned to be license plate readers, but again, you can take that video footage and run it through an AI to process it for that. So there's
I think they're basically an Android camera, is what one fellow was telling me. That they're just a basically cheap Android camera with a Android phone, I should say, with a decent camera, and nothing fancy about them.
Because the purpose is really just to capture sort of some decent video.
Well, it's not transmitting video. It's watching the video, and when it sees a license plate, it takes a still image.
Are you talking about the flock camera, or are you talking about your camera?
No, this is the flock camera.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So the flock camera, it's not uploading video. It doesn't have that kind of bandwidth, but every time a car comes by, it takes a still photo, decodes it, reads the plate, and uploads. Here's an event.
Okay.
This car came by with this license plate at this time.
I see. Okay. Galactic Boy. As someone who has watched 30 seconds of the video so far, that's good. He's meeting that first test. Stay for the first 30 seconds. It says this topic is truly the definition of controversial. You have two sides that are 100% at odds with each other, and both sides have no clue how the other side could feel the way they feel. Maybe. In fact, they casually scoff and act as though the other side doesn't even exist, and he laughs. So I told a 50-year-old business owner that flock cameras were strongly disliked online, and he said, by who? Criminals? Thieves? Losers? Or something to that effect. Because, of course, in real life, it's rare to ever meet anyone who has an opinion on them one way or the other.
That's why I tried to strike a balance, because I knew if I took a side on the issue, even if I was 100% right and glorious and could prove my point with inscrutable logic, I would annoy the other 49 to 50% of people. So why make half my audience angry, right? So I tried to come down where we could all agree, which is I think there are constitutional concerns here, and that the Constitution is the ultimate law of the land, and that should prevail. I'm not too worried about local ordinances and stuff. That'll all sort of percolate through the legal system eventually. But
and even, Lou said a couple times now that sort of controlling the use and access to the information is of huge importance. But even solving that to, and never going to solve it to everyone's satisfaction, but to most people's satisfaction, still doesn't resolve the issue where you're going to have 100% of the people agree that it's good or bad. So that just maybe moves the balance a little bit or shifts it for others maybe. So all that stuff is getting interesting. Burn Sid or Burn ZD. Very balanced overview, Dave. Curious about your perspective on the public claims that flock logins do not require any sort of MFA. That feels like an open door for potential abuse via shared logins.
I've seen some really astounding claims of how insecure the flock cameras can be. What I haven't seen is a claim by anybody that all flock cameras are that insecure. So you could take one and mess with its settings and put it on open Wi-Fi LAN and open up a broadcast point probably on it as an AP. And then stick it on a pole somewhere and say, well, we were playing with it. And maybe those are the ones they're finding. Now, if every camera was out there totally joinable by people, you wouldn't have to saw them down with not that I'm suggesting you do so, but the people who do so would not need to saw them down. They just walk around with their phone and, disable them and stuff. Yeah. So it seems unlikely to me.
Who do we got? El Moonlight says, kudos for managing to create a mostly objective view on the matter. One thing I'm missing is mention of the fact that there might be discrepancy between stated and actual capabilities and security measures. So here's the thing. He says, in a hypothetical situation where this is actually the case, could we design the system in a way that makes it harder to misuse it? For example, instead of storing all metadata as plain data, what if you only store a hash of license plates, car features, hour of the day, a low resolution location, and paired with a confidence weight? It says this way you can still ask if a particular car was seen at a particular time in a particular location, but you can no longer search for all entries by a certain license plate or get a list of all cars that were at a certain location.
Well, sir, I come down on that one as somebody who survived the crypto wars of the 90s when cryptographic code was a munition. And so I come down on the side of things that don't cripple the technology. Strengthen the law so that the technology can't be abused. Don't pretend that, hey, we've restricted the technology by changing it, and so, wink, wink, nobody can ever query it. Or, maybe you really do, by hashing, as he describes, really limit the accuracy and the definition of the original data, but now you're compromising the system in order to meet policy needs. Yeah. And so that's why I don't like that answer. And
when quantum computers start, they'll break those hashes in
well,
terms
absolutely.
anyway.
So it's all pointless.
So eventually, all of this stuff is pointless because X number of years or hours or weeks or months down the road, it's going to be, someone's going to find a way to get through it. Doug S. Hawley. If the state hired 50,000 officers to sit on random street corners and paid them to record every car that drove by manually, would everyone still be up in arms? People are getting upset by the wrong thing.
I don't think they would be up in arms. They probably would be, of course, but they wouldn't be. But the problem is now, what if they, instead of just writing them on a notepad, type them into a database, and then somebody could come along and query and say, well, this car, whether it was here, where was it next in the next 5 places? And now I've got a trajectory of the car through the neighborhood, and I can surveil that car, and I know where it's going, and I know who's in it, and whatever else you're doing with it.
Yeah.
So it's the way the technology is used, not that it's reducible to a bunch of monkeys with typewriters or police with notepads or whatever. Not drawing equivalence, just saying.
Yeah, totally outside the technology and the publication is. As a taxpayer, I'd be kind of like, what the hell are my taxes paying 50,000 police officers to write down license plates for? If we need this, there's got to be a more efficient way. But
when I worked at Microsoft in '93, often in the mornings, you could come in and there'd be somebody in a lawn chair with a clipboard at each entrance, and they were writing stuff down as the cars came in. And I'm like, what are they doing? And somebody told me they were counting the blue cars, which then a song came on the radio called Counting Blue Cars. And I thought, that's either really spot on or he's just pulling my leg. So I don't know what they were counting, but it seemed like they were taking some kind of, manual data of what kind of cars were coming in at what time.
This is Microsoft.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they were checking if you had your seatbelts on, or
I don't know. It could just be when do the cars arrive, Since Bill's first project was Trafo data, which is one of those things you drive over the rubber hose and it keeps track of various pieces of information. That was him and Paul Allen's first project. Okay. And
not the one that makes the bell go ding at the gas station that I was pumping gas at when I was 16,
that was his dad,
That's,
Bill Gates Sr. He invented that back in the 30s. They called him the Ding Dong Man.
Okay. Bill Ding.
Yeah.
That's a nickname we had from my dad. Bill Ding. It's always building something. Okay, Dave, that I think is sort of the flock stuff. Now, the last shop talk a couple of weeks ago, we were following up on some of that 3K notepad. So a couple of things there and just some miscellaneous stuff to kind of tease out the end here. Mac Rabbit Pro says, yes, please do an Amiga episode. Show the software you made back then and what your development process was. A lot of people, you know what? I meant to count it and I forgot because we didn't do an episode last week, but I should run a count to how many comments said do Amiga.
Really? I'll have to give it some thought.
I'll run it tonight or tomorrow before I'm editing and I'll have that stat popped up out of the total comments. How many?
Yeah, let me know.
Nothing that means anything. I'll convince you.
Well, it does. If people are screaming for it, then I will provide. Would I do any less?
Yeah. Herbie 1620 then says, as for Amiga, the M68000 versus the X86, which do you think is better?
Oh, 68,000. I love 68,000. Now, it's not a faster chip. And if it had been, we wouldn't be having this conversation because we'd still be using the 68,000 series chips, but we're not because they couldn't scale the speed as fast as Intel was doing. So even though for guys like me and probably like you, they were a much more elegant chip to program for, and they didn't use segment registers, and they had a nice flat 24 to 32-bit address mode, and wonderful, lots of registers. Basically like a PDP-11 almost. It really reminds me of the PDP-11 instruction set. And so I'm biased on that one.
Wow, you're almost getting a little bit verklempt there.
No, I was. Amiga.
John Brace has 3 related questions. First of all, why doesn't Siri or something or Alexa or
it answers now and then?
Yeah. Three related questions. Why doesn't Task Manager include per process committed memory as a possible column in the process list?
Imagine there were a new Task Manager, and imagine that it did. Now imagine that you're not in an imaginary world.
But you're definitely not in the Mac environment. But
Yeah, so yesterday for the Mac, I wrote Task Manager OG Edition, which is a version of the Windows Task Manager I wrote for the Mac, because I don't want to get in the business of writing one for Windows. It feels kind of weird. So maybe if I write one for the Mac and then port it to Windows, that will somehow be more defensible. So I guess that's what I'm going to wind up doing. But for now, it's Mac only. But it does, because the Mac has, the ability to filter for that. I give you per process I/O reads and writes and CPU and memory usage. Some of that is available on Windows, but I don't remember the specifics of what wasn't included as, hey, that's a nice feature to add next year versus it can't be done. I can't remember the specifics on that. So.
Okay. His second question is, any idea why resource monitors accounting for per process commit seems to undercount under heavy memory pressure?
No, but I'm sure the Task Manager number is correct.
Okay. Not a guarantee. Number 3, is there any reliable way to determine the total memory usage, resident and swap, of a given process?
I believe so.
Okay.
Anti-query system information, get system process information, something like that.
That's not an element in Task Manager? That's a separate...
I'm sure, I don't see why you couldn't turn it out as a call. You might have to add up a couple columns in your head to get the sum, but
or
you should be able to get them as individual columns.
Yeah, let ChatGPT do the math for you.
Don't be a sucker. Don't do work on your own.
Sturla Molden. Is there any reason to use MFC today?
Maybe if you were writing a quick and dirty Windows application, but if you were writing a quick and dirty Windows application, I would use AI to write a Win32 quick and dirty Windows application. So very, very few reasons that you would sit down and write a brand new MFC application today, which is not to pick on MFC. It was great for its time, but I used it
want
lots.
to reminisce.
Yeah.
Or you're feeling nostalgic.
But I'm not busting it out to solve any problems today.
Excalibur, have you ever worked with the tech that was released by Microsoft around the time of your departure, like C# or ASPX?
Yeah, I did a lot of ASPX stuff. Did ASP.NET and did ASP stuff before that, active server pages. So because I had my company on the side, I was writing a lot of checkout system and web monitoring and internet advertising serving, that kind of thing. And that was all in the Microsoft technology stack.
Okay. And then he says, what about later tech and their close-knit paradigms like WinForms, WPF, MVC, MVVM, UWP?
I've done a bunch of WinForms stuff, and I really liked WinForms. And had they ported WinForms to Mac and Linux, then I think they would have been huge. But they did not do that. So,
Deheeper wants to know if you have any thoughts on the quick starter languages like QuickBasic or QuickPascal.
No, I never used them. I used Turbo C. It is about the only consumer grade
Turbo C
from Borland.
Oh yeah, okay, right. And Turbo Pascal, where that's old.
I think I had that too.
Yeah,
but I didn't use it much. I used it for college or something like that.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. That's sort of 80s stuff almost, isn't it? Yeah. Crimson Wolf. Wait, hold the phone. It's all in assembly. I didn't know you could call operating system resources with assembly. I mean, I haven't begun learning assembly yet, but I always thought it was feeding instructions directly to the CPU.
Well, you are, but sometimes. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, he says, so also, how did your compression program manage to shrink a binary written in assembly? I thought anything written in assembly was, by definition, as small as it could possibly get.
No, because imagine you have an assembly program that says load number 1 into the accumulator, and now increment it, and then increment it, and then increment it, and then increment it. Now it's 5. But that can be compressed. That doesn't need to have 5 or 4 increments in there.
You can still write bad code
there's
in
that.
Assembler, right?
And it's just repeating patterns in code that you do something here and you do something here, and those are compressible to something similar, and they get keyed and joined together in the Huffman tables. And
Ed Tompkins says, I understand that the NT kernel is and always has been fully reentrant. Is that also true of all of the core system DLLs?
No.
Okay.
Not as far as I know. Okay. So all the NT stuff, yes. But, once you get into COM, because applications can be providing COM DLLs, and depends how the guy felt when he was writing the code that day, whether he was reentrant or his code is thread safe or which apartment it should run in and all kinds of things. So no,
Which
there's a lot of
apartment?
stuff. So let's go on a little sidetrack, shall we?
Okay.
In COM, you have the notion of apartments, and in that apartment are all the threads that party together.
Okay.
So all the multi-threaded threads party in one apartment, and all the single-thread threads party in another. And I think there's a way for like single-threaded apartments to accept multi-threaded guests and weird stuff like that. I didn't work too much in that part of the code, but it's a concept. So
Okay. Yeah. And then he says also, if two different apps running concurrently both need a certain DLL, will each have its own instance, or can they share one?
no, they will each have their own instance. They will use the same
Okay.
code off disk, but they'll have their
Okay.
own data and BSS and stuff.
Oh, okay. Then we sort of maybe touched this a bit early. Espen Lund says, TinyRetroTaskManager when?
Soon, my child.
SNT Sander. Hi, Dave. I'd been wondering how your own vehicle recognition system for your driveway was going. Did you manage to solve the distance issues?
No, I bought the Unify AI LPR Pro. Actually, they sent me one. I should be clear about that. I didn't buy it. They sent me that camera.
But you had a connection issue, though, didn't you?
I did, because it's on PoE and it's like 170 meters from the house. So there's a PoE repeater at the halfway point, and it wasn't weatherproof. And the camera's connection was not weather protected. It should have been. They give you the stuff to do it, but I hadn't installed it all yet. And then it got wet from the sprinklers, and it oxidized and made a mess.
So did you simply redo that installation, or did you change your installation approach to address that?
I used the Justin to replace the connector on the camera and fix the connectors at the repeater and fix the general wiring issues from the weather damage.
Justin is the name of the dude who fixed it. Okay. Just in time.
Yep.
To save you
Just
from
in
your
case.
own work. Excellent. WADS. While this was potentially an informative video, I couldn't keep my eyes off the changing color of the lights on that camera. And lots of people noticed. I'm colorblind, and I noticed. So kudos to you on that. Did you do that on purpose? And what are you hiding, Dave?
I was wondering who would notice. No, I did it on purpose. I just wanted the color phase at one time through the whole color wheel through the entire 20-minute episode. And so no matter how long you watch it, it never changes when you're looking at it. But if you look away and come back, now it's changed. So
Yeah.
just an Easter egg just to see if people are paying attention.
Lots of people noticed that and made a comment. I just pulled one out. So yeah, I like that little stuff. Fat Papa Bear. I appreciate the nice editorial decision to keep the camera on the corner of the screen the whole time, as if it was watching you. Or was it watching us?
I wanted you to be uncomfortable.
It was neat shift. And then STCO says, yeah, anyone else about the color shift in the camera illumination? I expected a, sorry, Dave, I can't do that at the end.
Yeah, it does look like hell when it's red.
Yeah, it was nice. And then last one here, Dave. It's a sort of a two-parter. Mark, NGNT. It says, I watched the outtakes. Are you guys drinking from matching tumblers? Last time
I don't think so.
No, you have one and I had one. And then he says, if so, which one of you took a friendly souvenir?
Which tumbler are we talking about?
The one that you had, I think you have one right now. And I have one similar to it. The glass you drink your fine whiskey out of.
Yeah.
No.
The entire.
Where's mine? There's mine.
See, I told you we both had one of those.
Yeah. No, you have a nice crystal
The
glass.
Ralph Lauren
and I
glass.
had one that was similar to it. And I guess looked like it was, so it's kind of funny. But I was like, no, I swear to God, I didn't take one of Dave's. I said, what I can assure you, though, is his is made out of actual crystal and mine's just cheap glass. So Dave's got the good ones. I got the imposters. But yeah, no souvenirs. That's it. We missed last week, so we're just sort of catching up for a couple of weeks ago. Next week's episode will be, you did that CAN bus
Right.
piece on Dave's Garage that got, I don't know, 300,000 views. And I'm sure there's more than enough questions for another episode of Shop Talk next week. So
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. So this is my time to remind you that if you're not already subscribed to the channel, now is a good time to do it. And why is that? Because it is now 82.4 degrees in here. I've been sitting here with my air conditioner off. I've earned that subscribe. So give me that subscribe.
and give me one too.
Yeah, give one to Glenn too.
I don't deserve it, but give me one anyway.
Just make sure you click that subscribe number an odd number of times. That's the main thing.
Subscribe for Dave, just like for me. I'll just accept likes.
There you
That's
go.
fine. Yeah.
That'll be the likes and subs. All right. Well, thanks for joining us out here in the shop tonight, and join us next week. Same place, same time, same channel. We'll see you then. Thank you. Good night.
Boom, boom. Yeah. And I got something to do. Just to screw up my editing, so I got to assemble 2 videos and 2 audios. No, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, it's almost guaranteed nothing funny is going to be said now. Yeah. And then we'll stop recording, and then all the funny stuff will get said. Yeah. That's how we roll. DTaP. What's the
I got
there was
all
a-
my vaccines, baby.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
little autism along the way, but that's probably not related.
Yeah. Maybe you had one too many vaccine shots, eh?
No, pretty sure
No,
there's
you
no
got yours
relationship
before
there.
vaccines caused autism, though.
Yeah, because there were no kids with autism when I was a kid.
That's right. That's right. You're
Except
late.
me. I just
You're a
poor
late
fucking
bloomer.
There was no autism in my day, says Grandpa, who has $400,000 of trains in his basement, who wrote a 30-page letter to the editor complaining that car headlights are too bright.
Exactly.
You know how they can make a human ear by they take an ear and then they erase all the proteins out of it and then they inject somebody else's stem cells and they make an ear out of it? Well,
no. Okay.
that's what they do, okay? And now
Yeah, I'd love to hang around, but I got to go check the freshness dates on my dairy products.
I got to go wound the other side of my head.
That's how I know I did something. If I don't have scars or something on me, you know I did all weekend. Oh, Dracar Noir.
Dracar Noir. All right, so I'm going to say, hey, I'm Dave. Welcome to Shop Talk. Oh, what am I going to say today?
It's been a couple weeks. Let's get into it.
Let's get it on, because we don't get along.
Fraser
Fraser goes down. What?
Down goes Fraser.
That's right. Now you had to butcher it. Look at that.
Down
Got it
goes Fraser. Excellent.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, it's right in my face, isn't it? Jeez.
Can you touch your mic a bit more? That's kind of cool. No. Sorry.
Is it loud when I do it?
No. It's just.
Oh, yeah.
Like it. I mean, it's just. I don't know. It's not annoying. It's just a noise you don't hear all the time. So it's like, oh, give me more. Something.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.